welcome back to Jessie Refit. I'm Jessie, and today we're going to talk about tips to beat insomnia and sleep better. I'll just get this out of the way now. My hand, everybody's been asking what happened. I get my stitches out today. That's pretty exciting. But I was carrying a big sheet of glass for a project, and I tried to get it in my car. It didn't fit in my car, so it broke in my hand. I had to get stitches here and here. I nicked a tendon in my thumb, so this is just a precaution so that I don't tear my tendon anymore. So I can't flex or extend my thumb for about 8 weeks. I used to not be able to sleep ever. My mom told me that when I was little. I told her that naps were a waste of my time. I can see that. I can see myself saying that. So I really did believe that until a couple of years ago when I had to work 5 a.m. sessions and I thought I was going to just crash and burn every single day because I wasn't getting enough sleep. And then that's when I just took it upon myself to change everything and make it a priority. And I'm so much more productive now. So why is sleep important? Sleep is important because it regulates the hormones leptin and ghrelin. One of them kind of like gives your body the signal that you're done eating and you're full, and the other makes you hungry. So when you're less well rested, you're going to crave foods that aren't good for you. And it's not that you're actually hungry, you just aren't producing your hormones properly. There are like tons of other hormones and neurotransmitters and stuff that are created during sleep that are also important, but those are two specifically related to weight management and hunger. Another thing is it will help you with cognitive function. If you're feeling like you have a foggy brain or you need a cup of coffee to be on in the morning, you're probably not getting enough sleep, or you're not getting the deep sleep that you require. Anxiety and cognitive function kind of go hand in hand, but your anxiety levels go up if you're not well rested enough, and then it continues into a really bad cycle of insomnia because you're more anxious. You're like, I don't want to go to sleep, and then you don't sleep well, so you think you can't sleep. So implementing habits that you can really control in your life to help with it, eventually the cycle will get easier and easier and it'll work in your favor. If you're suffering from anxiety and depression and you are not getting enough sleep, this is a really great place to start in terms of a behavioral change that you can make to feel better. Let's get started. The first tip is to create some sort of routine. Our bodies evolved to follow our circadian rhythm and actually operate with the sunlight. So when the sun goes down, ideally, we would be getting ready for bed. Our melatonin production would go up because naturally our body is turning into sleep mode. When the sun rises, that production starts to slow down. We want to wake up. What's happened over the years is that with technology, with artificial lighting, we've kind of disrupted our body's natural production of these hormones that make us sleepy. Melatonin is one of those hormones, and people think it's good to just take a supplement of melatonin. It can be a tool, especially if you're somebody who works night shifts and you need to regulate your melatonin production in a different way. But for the majority of the population, you don't want to overuse or abuse that, because what happens is the more you take as a supplement, the less your body naturally produces. So over time, it'll actually become harder and harder to sleep on your own. So here's some natural remedies. Instead of just going to melatonin, or I know a lot of people use alcohol to wind down, and that actually has the opposite effect on your sleep. So we're going to go over some natural tips. In terms of circadian rhythm, you want to try to go to bed at a certain time, or like within a given hour or two every single night, and wake up within a given hour or two. That's really important in the production of those hormones within our body that help us fall asleep and wake up. Whether you're getting 8 hours a night or not, it can disrupt your sleeping pattern if you go to bed at 9 p.m. one night and then 1 a.m. the next night, even if you're getting 8 hours all those nights. So that's the first thing. Create a routine around your sleep. Thing number 2 is to wind down your body with some sort of routine that can kind of calm your mind down. So I highly recommend meditation. There are guided meditation websites all over. You can look it up on YouTube. My favorite website is fragrantheart.com. It's a free website I've just been using for like 10 years. They don't have an app yet, but there are apps that you can pay for. Headspace is one of them, where it'll actually lead you through a guided meditation where you can learn how to calm down your breathing and focus on just being. A really important skill that you can learn to kind of help you throughout your whole life and help you respond better in situations of anxiety, and eventually learn to calm yourself down without the guided part of the meditation. So meditating is one good thing. A lot of yoga also includes meditation in their practices. So if you could create yoga into your natural rhythm, that'll help to kind of teach you how to listen to your body a little bit better. Avoid caffeine and alcohol. So it's such a big thing to have coffee all the time in our society. Caffeine is a drug, so it should be used to produce a specific result, but it shouldn't become a thing where it's just like, I'm just gonna go get coffee because it's a social thing, even though it's 5 or 6 p.m. You start to become dependent on it. You don't want to have more and more and more cups to get the same result, because your tolerance will go up. So if you start to not feel the effects of coffee after only having 1 cup, it's better to just go off of coffee altogether until your tolerance goes back down, so then 1 cup will work again. So like, if you have a cup before your workout as a pre-workout, that's okay, you're using it appropriately. But if you're drinking it all throughout the day as a way to just ignore your body's signals that you need sleep, it can lead to worse quality of sleep and then a really bad cycle of insomnia. I dealt with this where I was totally addicted to coffee, and even when I like slowed down, I think it still wasn't really out of my system. So I got to the point where I was feeling achy, I couldn't sleep, but I thought I was sleeping, but I don't think the quality of my sleep was good. And my body was so achy that I went and got blood tests because I thought I might have had Lyme disease or some sort of autoimmune disorder or something. The tests all came back negative, and then I cut coffee out for real, and it took me 1 or 2 months to get it out of my system. And I switched to green tea and black tea. I didn't cut out caffeine completely, but the green tea didn't seem to have the same effect on me in terms of jitteriness and physical aches. So after a couple months, I mean, I really had to like nap every single day, and I felt totally out of it during that time that I was weaning off. But once I was completely off of coffee and my body got kind of regulated again, I felt like I was back to myself. Like, I was not as depressed, I had more energy. And now if I do have a cup, I notice that my quality of sleep, it really does change for the worse quite a bit. Get rid of that caffeine, and that includes pre-workouts, coffee, those artificial, super hyped up caffeine things. And some people aren't as sensitive to coffee as I might be. So just listen to your body. And if you do have sleep issues, that's a great place to start. Tea is another good way. I got my cup of tea right here. This is an herbal tea. Chamomile is a natural remedy, and so is lavender. So I add a lavender essential oil sometimes to my tea. I'll do like lavender, peppermint, and lemon because I like the taste of it. But I also buy herbal and chamomile teas, and that's kind of like an easy way to have a bedtime routine, and also to have something in your hand if you're like watching TV and you want a snack. I've turned tea into my nighttime habit so that I'm not eating right before I go to bed. Alcohol interrupts your REM sleep cycles, and that's the time where your body is most productive in recreating all these hormones that you need to function on the day-to-day. So it's really, really important that you don't think of wine as a way to calm down. If you have a glass of wine, that's one thing, but if it becomes a point every night where you need a glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine, eventually your body is going to respond negatively to that, and your sleep's actually going to become worse. So then when you try to not have a glass of wine, your body is all shaken up because it's used to having it, and you might actually sleep worse for the first couple weeks as you start to get used to not having it in your system again, and then eventually you're going to sleep way better. So you might think you're sleeping through the night and not waking up a lot, but you're probably not getting that quality REM sleep which you need, which is like the deepest level of sleep in our sleep cycles. Try to listen to your natural clock by turning off the lights or dimming the lights as it starts to get dark. So in the summers, we might naturally have longer days. In the winter, maybe you're turning on a softer light or salt lights because it's more of a red light. You don't want the blue lights. That's what really keeps you up and interrupts those natural sleep hormone production. Kind of winding yourself down. Screen time is terrible before bed. You don't want to be watching TV or looking at your cell phone. Keep your cell phone away from your bed away from you within 1 or 2 hours of sleep time. It's better if you can take a bath or read a book, do yoga, hang out with your significant other, play with your animals, do something else that kind of calms you down, and try to incorporate that into your nighttime routine as opposed to social media or TV. I'm just talking about the light part, but there's also the signals that our phones send to receive Wi-Fi and all this stuff. So that also messes with our brain waves. I learned about this through Sean Stevenson's book, Sleep Smarter. A lot of people are deficient in magnesium, and magnesium can be really important in sleep. Now, magnesium does not absorb as easily if you take it through a supplement as it does through your skin. So instead of taking a magnesium pill, take an Epsom salt bath. That way the magnesium can soak through your skin. It's relaxing. It's a great wind down thing at the end of the day anyway. It helps with your recovery muscle-wise. It can help prevent muscle cramps if you're working out a lot. So an Epsom salt bath is a really good way to go to help with sleep too. Anxiety and insomnia are prevalent in our population right now because of all of the different distractions and stressors, especially with the news and social media. So I hope that these tips help. If you can really implement all of them, I mean, try one at a time so that they can really become a habit. But if you could eventually implement all of them, it will change your life. You'll feel so much better. You'll have energy. You'll want to work out. You'll want to wake up in the morning. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And subscribe below so that you don't miss any other tips for mental health, workouts, or nutrition.